Morning, I'll read you number 2 of the Shokushu, The Value of Our Existence. We are born of the key of the universe. Let us appreciate that we are born, not as plants and animals, but as human beings blessed with universal mind. Let us pledge to accomplish our mission, which is to join the circle of development of the universe. I wonder how many of you have noticed that happiness is a fundamental condition of being human. Or maybe some of you still might be thinking that it comes from a thing or some person or some circumstance. But happiness is a prior condition. It's like calmness or peace. If we're in attention, we feel very calm. If we're in deep attention, we can understand what true peace is. And it's not the absence of conflict, but the presence of peace. And then similarly, when we're in attention, we experience happiness, satisfaction. Of course, if we think that happiness comes from somewhere else, then we're always going to be unhappy because we cannot control what comes from outside. Even when we're happy, we're going to be afraid the source of our happiness will be taken away. So we'll always feel unhappy. So this is, if you think about it, kind of an ironic thing that we do to ourselves. It comes mostly because we have expectation, right? So we look forward to something. The way things are right now is not quite right, but if I get that, when I get that thing, a new car or a new house or maybe a new shirt, then it gets better. Then I'll be happy. Or if I just meet that certain woman or that certain man, the one I've been waiting for, the perfect one, then I'll be happy. And then, or if just the right job comes along that pays me many hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and I'm very wealthy, then I'll be happy. Of course, this means you're pushing off your happiness into the future. And anyway, whenever those things happen, we discover that they're not the source of happiness anyway. They might make us feel good for a while. And there's nothing wrong with enjoying whatever comes our way. I'm not saying that, but if we depend upon it for happiness, for something that we already have, then we'll never find the real coin. We'll never find the true condition of our birth. This is very important. All right. Let's do some deep breathing. I think that all of us, have to decide at some point whether we want to have the circumstances, people, and things in the outside world control us or not. when we set ourselves up for disappointment by requiring that conditions be a certain way, or that people act a certain way, or that certain things are present in our life. When we set ourselves up for that's going to bring disappointment, because everything cannot be exactly the way we like. And then when we get disappointment, then we instead of letting that go, it makes us unhappy. So being unhappy, then we create more circumstances for unhappiness, trying to get rid of the unhappiness, trying to get rid of the disappointment that we have and fix that. So it's a kind of a vicious cycle. Excuse me. Of course, this is very complex. It's not nearly as simplistic as that. There are many, many people in the world who, due to their unfavorable circumstance, their dire circumstance, maybe having to do with it, not having enough food to eat or a place to live or their physical safety. So these people, they're not going to be able to notice. They don't have time to notice this kind of syndrome that I'm describing. And it certainly is almost unfair to expect them to. So we want to have systems of government in place that can help those people and support them, to relieve them of this dire circumstance, so they too have this opportunity to see happiness for what it is. But for us, we have no excuse. There is no excuse for people like us with the advantages that we have in our life to not be gloriously grateful and happy at every moment. So this has been on my mind for a while, so I thought I would mention. Would you like to say something about this? Or ask a question? Andre, yes.
Also say hello, everyone. Do you hear me?
No.
No?
Uh,
You don't hear me.
okay. I think we can.
Do you hear me now?
Yes.
Hello, hello, everyone. I would like to ask. You don't hear me, no?
Yes, we hear you now.
Oh, there's a strange sensation when I'm doing the whole body meditation, and it's like its intensity rises with time, and it's like every breath, every breath, it makes my body kind of moving outwards, as if it's, and I don't know, energy expanding. So it's shaking me. So if I'm starting quite calm, sitting, and then start like this, I don't know what to do with this. This is the question.
Okay, so that's your question. What to do with this? Nothing. Don't do anything with it. Just sit in it. You know, whatever happens, in Zen training, they call this Makyo. Whatever arises, whatever phenomenon begins to happen in our body or our mind or our energetic field, we just sit in it. There's a reason. But dwelling on a kind of logical explanation is not usually very useful. So I find, and those that came before me found, that it's best just to sit in whatever it is and let it have its way. And if there's something we need to learn from it, we'll learn. If there isn't, it will pass and other phenomenon will arise. And maybe we can even say, in some circumstances, we just aren't mature enough yet to understand what it is, why this is happening, or what it is that it's trying to teach me. If so, that's also fine. We just wait. And the circumstances always will avail us of a deeper and deeper understanding as time goes on, as long as we continue practicing. Okay? Thank you. Thank you.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, everyone. Or hello, everyone. Thank you. I wanted to share that during this meditation, I went and I noticed an ant crawling on my ear and had to just sit with it without trying to get it off. It helped me to notice how quickly my mind just went to that part of my body and how it totally distracted my mind from my meditation. And so I just followed it and I could feel it crawling down my earlobe, over my neck, and then up to my eye. And I'm thinking, oh, please don't go into my eye. And I just tried to sit with it and even notice that anxious feeling of it crawling on me and just be with that sensation of this little ant crawling on me. And then before that, I was kind of drifting off into dream state and noticed, but then kind of awoken, became lucid, and, just was able to just notice my body. And again, notice that it was like my mind went somewhere else. It was no longer aware. It was in a dream state. And so, so coming back to your theme of the happiness, my first thing that when you talked about it was like that, what came to me was how I so want to master my mind, because it all arises from the mind. And so if I can just master my mind, then I can be happy. So even this, I'm still attached to wanting to do these practices so that I can get to this place of contentment and peace. So, and also I noticed too that whenever I'm thinking, my mind, I usually am up here. So I have a question about dropping down into the one point. So is that why we focus on the one point? Because so we're not so in our minds?
Yeah. Oh, okay. So there's a lot there. First of all, I'm glad that you were able to find a way to unify with the ant. We say, if you're hungry, eat. So if the ant bothers you, you can shoo it away. It's okay. But it's a nice exercise also to let it have its way and see what happens. Yeah, so this is another conundrum, this idea of controlling our mind. Who wants to control the mind? See? This is a big, I think, mistake. when we feel that this will give us some sort of sense of mastery and therefore happiness, as you say, or satisfaction, that we finally reach the point where our mind cannot control us. Well, who doesn't want to be controlled? See, so there is an organism here, yes, but the part of this organism that registers need, requirement, expectation, desire. This part has a place, but we cannot also let this part control us. It's okay, we can enjoy whatever, but we don't want to set ourselves up for unhappiness, like a syndrome. So as you mentioned, even those that are very experienced in meditation can still be just as thoroughly caught up in expectation and disappointment as those that are maybe living more on an animal level. So we don't want to think of ourselves as automatically too advanced or too expert, but just to keep noticing. Practice will keep going on until we die. We just keep noticing what's arising. And underneath all this is this fundamental, I say, prior circumstance, which is like, it's not before in time, but it's prior to whatever arises is happiness. Prior to whatever arises is peace. Prior to whatever arises is a deep calmness. And in that is the natural state of us as humans. In that state, everything arises. In that condition, everything arises. Okay, thank you very much. どうもありがとうございました。